host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolo.
Look up on the wall, there on the floor, under the pillow.
Welcome in, Fabulous Friday. Nice to have you with us. We've got two new additions to the Memphis sports scene. We got two teams into the Elite Eight. Two more make it tonight. And the NBA says they're going to fix tanking. We talk with Andy Schiffman, our agent in Chicago, in our second segment. And then we'll talk about this second addition to the Memphis scene. The new women's basketball coach with Jonah Dillon. He wrote the story about the new women's coach. Her name, Hannah Hayden. She replaces Alex Simmons. So they're banking on an up-and-comer with Hannah Hayden. Let's face it, Alex Simmons, 30-61. That was dismal. That was not the hire of Ed Scott. That was the hire of Laird Veach. That did not work. They had to pay her off all that money. Hayden comes from Georgia Southern. She was the 2026 Sun Belt Coach of the Year. Her team was 23-8, despite being picked 10th in the preseason poll. Well, let's face it, these preseason polls, you know what they do? They take a look at what the team finished last year. Everybody's rebuilding anyway. Nobody knows, and that's how they pick it. But this woman has been very consistent. Now, I say up-and-comer because she's been at Georgia Southern, she's been at Georgia Southwestern, and she's been at Moberly Community College. So those are not exactly major programs by any means, but here's her record, 224-91. That's 71% winning percentage. You'll take that. And so you hope, and she apparently seems to be young and energetic. You hope she can turn around the program. She certainly did that. I think the year before in conference, she took over the program. The team won 4 games in the Sun Belt. And then she got them close to 500, and then she did a heck of a job from there on out. So congratulations to the University of Memphis. They've solved one of their replacement issues. They have not figured out a staff for Penny yet, or that general manager's position, which we thought we would see quickly. The other new entree into the Memphis sports team is a new hockey team. It was divulged that will play at Lander Center. So this is going to be a single A league. This will not be like the Central Hockey League, although that was pretty much 1A plus. It was not like the East Coast Hockey League. So this is a developmental league. It is called the Federal Prospects Hockey League. And the Mid-South team, they're going to call themselves the Mid-South whatever, and they want you to go on the Frontier Prospects Hockey League, the FPHL. They want you to pick the nickname.
It's got to be River Kings.
No, the River Kings was already...
Oh, that logo is so good, though.
It was good. I was the original voice of the River Kings. I have a great fondness for that. But I think you got to have your own identity. I truly do. I think Mid-South
maybe
something. I have to think about it. I like your process there a little bit, but I think you got to put the River Kings aside. And
got to rep the turtle.
I never really understood that connection either. Do we have a lot of turtles here? No.
Well, yeah, sure. Any body of water around us.
Yeah. We got the Mississippi River. I'd rather see something connected with that than a snapping turtle that, I don't know. I don't know if the River Kings original logo was the snapping turtle. I'm trying to remember what it was.
I think it was like a tortoise, wasn't it?
No, I think it was a crown for kings, and I can't remember what adorned it. Maybe if you can go back and look at that one, let's see. I don't think the original, I think it's 83. You know, they were once the Southmen, which was a team connected with the Minnesota Northmen, which became, I think, the North Stars. But I'm excited about it. So they're going to be they're the 15th team in the league. It begins next October. They're going to be in a division with Biloxi, Columbus, and Athens, Georgia, Monroe, Louisiana. There are teams in the North and the Northeast. So, like I said, they'll be the 15th franchise. And maybe this is the best part, and part of it is single A, but they really want, this is the whole theme of the Lander Center, and I appreciate it. They really want to be family friendly. So you're going to get $300 season tickets for these games. I don't even know how many games, but it equates to about $11 a ticket, so do the math. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I for sure will go to a few games. I'm excited about it because I love hockey, and hopefully some of these guys will move on up. The NCAAs last night, just the first two games were unbelievably good. Unbelievably good. Iowa, the 9 seed, the Cinderella. You can't be a Cinderella if you're in a Power 4, but this is close because they are the 9 seed and they upset Nebraska. Nebraska led most of the way. Nebraska kind of blew the game at the end. I think they ran out of gas. And I got to say this. Landon, have you been watching Adam Klefko, who is the host, and you've got Bruce Pearl on there, and you've got Jalen Rose on there. This is a good group. And you've got Jamal Mashburn. I am finding, and this includes Kenny Smith and Charles Barkley, and I love those, and I love Clark Kellogg, who we used to share the same agent, so I got to know Clark Kellogg. That's a great group. I'm not putting them down, but I'm going to tell you, Jamal Mashburn is in their league. He made some great points last night. He basically said Nebraska blew the game, partially because of the rotating defense they played, wore them out. He said, well, they did not need to play that the entire game. They wore themselves out. And then I hate to say this for Fred Hoiberg because I think he's a good coach, but at the end, they're down 3. They got 4 players on the court. And then in the end, he's trying to put some of the blame on the officials. And this is what he said. He goes, I know they count. I know they count if you got 6. They're not going to hand the guy the ball. I don't know what the rule is with 4. Look, you can't blame the officials. You got to know. And there was a miscommunication where the guy was supposed to be in. That might be the biggest gaffe I've seen in a number of years because it's a 3-point game. That became a 3-point play, 6 points. They never recovered. This was with a minute or less left in the game. You got to make a stop and you're in the game. Wow. So I felt bad for Nebraska because I really like Hoiberg. It's the first time they made the tournament. They get all the way to the Sweet 16, and they led most of the way, and they just let a very physical Iowa team beat them. And Iowa can shoot some threes. So they're in, and they will face Illinois. Now, this is a shocker, too. Houston is at home. They get so lucky. They're 2 miles from their campus. Now, they're not playing in the Fertitta Center. That's illegal. You can't do that. But it just so happens they're a 2 seed, so they get locality, and the region is in Houston this year. So they're playing in the Toyota Center. They got everything going. They were never able to figure out Illinois' length and defense. They ended up shooting 34% for the game. They were 9 of 32 from 3-point range. Illinois, 2 freshmen, David Merkovich and the kid that is just so great, Keaton Wegler. They both had double-doubles. This is against Houston, in Houston. This is amazing. So they knocked them off. Houston only scored 55 points. Now, granted, their defense was still pretty good because Illinois averages almost 85 points a game. They only scored 65. you would think, hey, Illinois is only going to score 65. Houston's going to win the game. They couldn't score. Illinois played great defense. I don't know how many big guys Illinois has got. It looks like the whole team is big. I mean, even the freshman Wegler is big. He's good. He's a lottery guy. You know, you look at every one of these guys on these teams like Arizona. I'll get to them in a second. They got 2 freshmen that are unbelievable. Unbelievable. But the height, the defense they played, just amazing. I'm serious. I kept waiting for Houston to make their move. They were lucky to be within 2 at the break. I thought, oh, okay, they're going to swing it, and they tied it up immediately. There was a 17-0 run in the middle of that second half. Landon Schmidt, I can't remember anybody having a 17-0 run on Houston.
I can't either, but that was, I mean, you basically summed it up. It was a good defensive game, low-scoring affair, but from what you watched in that game, it looked like Illinois just had their way. Shots were draining left and right. Houston just couldn't figure it out.
No, they out-physicaled and out-defended Houston, and that's their calling card.
Yeah, and this is coming from somebody who's a big believer that Kelvin Sampson wanted to get to that last dance, and Illinois just came to play.
I am shocked because Illinois is good, but they're a 3 seed, right? Houston blew some games. They couldn't beat Arizona. Okay, no, nobody's beaten Arizona for the most part, and so I can understand that, you're the favorite in the game. I just think Illinois maybe is rounding into shape. They were clearly the better team, and like you, I feel bad for Kelvin Sampson. He got to the final game last year, couldn't get it because he's one of the great coaches. If you look at where he's coached, how he's come up the ranks, and how he's won big wherever he's been, he's just a brilliant coach. And I love how hard he gets his guys to play. But man, they were out Houstoned by Illinois. That was amazing. Now, Arizona's the team I picked to win the national championship, and I don't see how anybody is going to beat them. I really don't. They absolutely smashed Arkansas. Arkansas that was on a bit of a run. They won the SEC title. The tournament. They seem to have everything going. They got the best, I thought, maybe the best player on the floor in Acuff, who did have 28 points. That's the last time we'll see Acuff in a college uniform.
Oh, yeah.
But Arizona had 6 guys who had 14 or more points.
Yeah, unreal.
They have so much depth. And I love Pete. I love Burries. I love the whole team. And they got 8 guys that are great. They got freshmen that are great, too, because both Pete and Burris, they're both freshmen. It's just incredible how good these freshmen truly are. And I hate to say it, but Arkansas lost their minds in the middle of the game. Richmond gets an F2, gets ejected. Calipari gets a technical. They just couldn't play with Arizona. Arizona was too good. Arizona, I just don't know if anybody can beat Arizona. I really do not. Then you had Purdue beating Texas, just barely. I got to give it to Sean Miller, and I feel bad for him. He's, I think, got the most Sweet 16 appearances and never made it to a Final Four as a coach. I think he's got like 9 Sweet 16s with all the places he's been. And Purdue tried to blow the game. They're up 3. And they allow a drive. Okay, you allow a 2 in that particular instance. You're under 30 seconds, right? Allow the 2. If the guy gets past the wall, if he gets past containment, you let him drive. You got the 2. You're going to inbound the ball. You got to hit free throws. That's it. You're going to win the game.
Yeah.
They foul Swain, who's a heck of a player. And he goes to the line, makes the free throw. They're tied. Now, Smith, maybe the most experienced point guard in this tournament in the country, goes down and he takes a very tough shot I thought was going to go in. It didn't, but there's their big guy, Trey Croftman-Wren, TKR. Tipped it in with .7 to go. So Purdue is able to squeeze by. That's going to be, those Elite Eight games are going to be terrific. And now that's just last night. What have we got? We got the same thing tonight in these games. Michigan, Alabama, Tennessee, Iowa State. We don't know if Joshua Jefferson's going to play. That's going to be important. You've got Duke, St. John's. To me, that's the best game. And then Michigan State, UConn is right there. I mean, these are great games. Last night they were great. The only one that was really a bad game was Arizona, Arkansas. And that was, a 9.5 point line going in. And a friend asked me about that. I said, you know what? I don't think Arkansas can beat Arizona. I think Arizona's just too deep. But 9.5 points, I can't see Calipari's team with Acuff, Richmond, Wagner, Prince. You know, Pringle came back and played. They never had a great big man. If they had a great big man, it might have been a different story. But I just didn't think they would lose by more than 9.5 points, but they did. And that's a credit to Arizona. Your favorite game tonight? Can you pick one? Because they're all good.
Yeah, this one is difficult. I do think Duke and St. John's is going to be really, really good. I think I'm keeping a close eye on Michigan State, UConn.
Those are my favorite too. I agree.
I think those are going to be good. And I think, depending on what Alabama team you get coming out there, because once they get rolling on offense, it's hard to slow them down.
Right.
But this Michigan team is also really, really good.
What, they have 19 threes in the last game?
I think they
did.
did.
If they make
ridiculous.
19 threes, they're going to win the game. But I don't think they will.
Not against Michigan. I think it's going to be a little bit tighter than that.
I think Michigan will take them inside, and that'll be the end of that.
Yeah.
That may be the easiest game for me to pick.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it will depend on if Jefferson plays for Iowa State. But I think I lean with Iowa State. Look what they did without him the last game. And that was against Kentucky. So,
well, kind of a down year for Kentucky.
I think St. John's is going to get Duke. I really do. And I'm hoping Michigan State gets UConn, but I don't know. That game is such a toss-up. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. One last note. We take the break. Andy Schiffman, our agent in Chicago, is going to join us. There is a battle over the name Iceman. Caleb Williams, my quarterback, who had all those comeback wins last year in the final minute in the NFL, he wants and has applied to trademark the name Iceman. I hate to tell you, Caleb, and I love you, but George Gervin played with San Antonio. Guy from, I think, Ypsilanti, played at Eastern Michigan. Played for a little bit at, I think it was Long Beach State with Tarkanian. Guys have been, he's had this name Iceman for 50 years. And you're going to try to steal that trademark away from him? Caleb. So there's somebody else who's tried to take that. I think it's like a wrestler, or maybe it's an MMA guy who also uses in his name like Chuck Iceman something. I can't remember.
Chuck Liddell?
Maybe it is Chuck Liddell.
I think it is.
Yeah. He didn't deserve it either. Gervin owns the trademark. Come on, people. Anyway, Andy Schiffman, Jonah Dillon, that's what's left on the docket. A lot of good stuff as we sit in the Family Leisure Studios. A reminder to you, the floor model sale, it begins, and it's coming to the end. Because I know in April, we got a chlorine sale that is going to be terrific. Chemical sales, which will make it affordable because we all know how that price has gone up over the last few years. But here's your last chance. Maybe this weekend will be the end of the floor model sale where you can get in-stock hot tubs, spas, even the swim spas and the cold plunges. You can get all those at really deeply discounted prices. So low, I can't even tell you what they are, but go in and see Billy. Go see Lindsay. She owns the place. Tell them we sent you. You might get something special when you go this weekend to Family Leisure. And welcome back in the fold, our good friends at Miramichi. Miramichi is just a super place. You know, people think it's in Millington. It's not in Millington. Ladies and gentlemen, 25 minutes from my driveway in East Memphis in Woodstock. And when you get there, all you see is beauty. You see a very competitive golf course. You see the best practice facilities of any public course, and it rivals many of the country clubs' practice facilities. They got a huge driving range. They've got a sand trap area. They've got a putting green that's humongous. They've got a chipping area. They've got everything. They really do. It's the complete golf experience. The back nine is like taking a walk in the woods with a meandering stream and hills. The front nine more wide open, but very challenging, and you can play all the way back to like 7,300 yards, or you can play it more friendly inside 6,000, like old guys like me. You'll love the complete experience. The folks are so friendly, and they've got a great clubhouse with great food and drink. Miramichi, the complete golf experience. We pause for a second. We're going to Chicago. Our agent, Andy Schifrin from Priority Sports, comes your way next.
You have opinions?
I think it's over.
Of course you do.
I don't think it's that simple.
Everyone does.
I got all the answers.
Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255.
Hi, fellas. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. Christmas and Valentine's Day have come and gone, but you know that at some point you'll need to make your favorite lady happy on her anniversary or her birthday, or just because you want her to know how special and important she is. At Russell Brothers, we've been helping gentlemen for over 5 decades do just that. When a gift-giving occasion arises, we're here to help you. Magnificent diamond rings, beautiful necklaces, shimmering gemstone bracelets. So much to choose from, and the possibilities are endless. At Russell Brothers, you can always know that if you surprise her and she'd rather have something else, we're happy to exchange or refund your money within 30 days. Beauty, value, quality, and service are the things that set Russell Brothers apart from other jewelers. Come see us at Russell Brothers Jewelers, 4646 Poplar. Let us help you say you're the best to that wonderful lady in your life.
Rick's Powder Coating, for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com. Your home is your best investment, so why not make it the best it can be with help from Gates Lumber? Start with your front door, serving 2 purposes, curb appeal and security. Gates has solid construction doors built for security, durability, and beauty. See and compare wood, steel, and fiberglass options side by side at Gates Showroom. It's easier to choose when you can see and touch real doors with real assistance from knowledgeable staff helping you choose the right door for your home and budget. So don't just replace your door, upgrade your protection, and Gates Lumber is the right choice. Family owned and operated, serving you for over 100 years with free estimates, free delivery, competitive prices, and quality products. Call 901-942-3201, go to gateslumber.com, or come by their showroom, 1253 South Bellevue Boulevard. Gates Lumber, celebrating over 100 years with a passion for craftsmanship since 1920.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. Taking care of families isn't new to us. It's what we've done across the Mid-South since 1958. Now celebrating 68 years in business, Choate's is still family-owned, award-winning, and committed to doing things the right way. With honest service, expert technicians, and industry-leading warranties that bring real peace of mind. To celebrate, we're offering our $68 deals. Get our $68 early bird AC tune-up special, or just need Freon to get you cooling, get $68 off per pound. If your system is struggling, don't wait for it to fail on the hottest day of the year. Upgrade today and get up to $2,000 in Carrier Cool Cash rebates on select Carrier systems. Plus, enjoy 60 months no interest financing on new HVAC systems, generators, or tankless water heaters. Call Choates at 347-8086 or visit HVAC.com today. And remember, let our family serve your family.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We head to Chicago. Our agent from Priority Sports, that's Andy Schiffman. He joins us now. Good morning, my friend. I'm told you had a homework assignment that you had to do for Landon Schmidt, and that was to name the Las Vegas expansion team. What did you come up with?
I am at a loss for words, Dave. The last thing I told him last week was the Las Vegas Cash, which I don't know how that sounds, but
I love it.
That's probably all the other good names are taken. The Knights, the Aces, not going to be the Spheres, so the Heat's taken. The Dry Heat, maybe, I don't know. It's
how about the Gamblers? How about the Gamblers?
Will the NBA go for that? Explicitly promoting gambling. They're already putting a team in Vegas.
Well, they've already got a what is it, dual?
I would like the dealers over the gamblers. I don't think.
The dealers could work. Okay,
the dealers could work.
Yeah, because you can deal the ball. I like that. That's
there
cool.
we go.
What are you going to call? What is Seattle going to be called?
You got to stick with the Supersonics.
You think 100%. So? Okay,
absolutely.
All right, I'm okay with that. We know tanking is a serious problem. Basically, with a third of the year left, a third of the team started tanking. And Adam Silver knows this is really bad business. So he's put forth 3 possible solutions to end this. They are very complex because I looked at them quickly and I said to myself, I'm really going to have to study this to figure it all out. But I know my guy Schiffman. He'll know what this is all about. What do you think out of these 3 is the best way to go? And do you think they're really going to be serious about cleaning this up?
Well, first off, I absolutely think they'll be serious about cleaning it up. They are actually trying to have another Board of Governors meeting in May, which is not on the regular schedule for the league, to try and address this as soon as possible, which I think is the right move. I was talking to a team actually 2 days ago, and I said I think that there's going to be some news addressing the tanking issue coming out here pretty soon. I just can't see this being dragged out. Obviously, they've been talking about it for the last couple of months. Look, there's 3 proposals, as you said. I mean, I would say for the listeners, the general concept is not to reward those teams who lose the most. And so they kind of group the teams into different segments, whether you made the play-in game or you don't make the play-in game at all and you're completely out of the playoffs altogether, and you give those teams at the very top equal odds, and then maybe the teams in the play-in games a different set of odds. They try and create a floor for those teams that maybe get hurt by that first lottery where they can't get past, they're not going to pick past 10. So it is complex. I would encourage everyone to go out there and read it. It's all over the internet and the media today. The one option that I'd probably be most in favor of, Dave, it's similar to what the WNBA does, where they look at teams' records over the last 2 seasons.
I was just going to say that. I think that's the best one. I like that idea. You're not going to tank for 2 years.
The other component of this I like is they put a minimum win floor, and I think the proposal said minimum win floor of 25 wins. So if you're a team out there thinking that you're going to improve your lottery odds by going out there and winning 17 games, you're automatically, for lottery purposes, slotted up to at least 25, so you don't really create a competitive advantage by losing, which I think is a really smart move.
I think that has to be done. I like the 2-year aggregate. I'm in favor of no draft. I think if you had a real cap, okay, a fair but real cap based on the revenue stream, I think it's 53%, whatever it is, and you had to follow that cap without luxury taxes or anything else, and you had no draft, watch how everything got distributed equally.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's somewhat similar to what's going on right now in the NCAA with the transfer portal. All these teams have $20.5 million among their revenue-producing sports, and you can use it as you see fit. But, again, all of these college players are entering the portal now and, obviously going out there and trying to get as much as they can, with also trying to create themselves a good home with a good fit in college. But there's much more parity because every team has access, if they want to spend it, up to that cap. Now, obviously, it's a little bit lopsided when you talk about the Big East schools that don't have a football program, so the revenue-producing sports go from really 3 to 2, so they have more money for men's basketball in Big East schools. But again, it's free agency for new players, and just like you said, teams can go out there and set aside a certain amount of money for who they want, and that can count towards the cap and has nothing to do with wins or losses. It's all just how you want to spend your money.
I think if you had that hard cap, let's just say, L.A., New York, they're going to be the ones that are going to be the most attractive to the stars, right? But you only have 15 slots you can fill, right? And you only have so much money because you got a cap. So let's just say you're the Grizzlies and you identify Acuff as he's going to be the next superstar. You can go and bid against those guys and probably get them.
Yep.
I mean, it just
absolutely.
If you can identify guys, and I'll say this, Zach Kleiman's done a pretty good job with that. I think that would be the best way to go, but they're not going to do that. They're going to figure out.
They're not going to do that because I do think it tends to then kind of put a ceiling on the number of new players entering the league in the summer, because there inevitably will be teams that say, okay, we don't have a roster spot, or we do have a roster spot, but I don't want to use it on a draft pick that we just don't believe in, and we're not going to get in a bidding war for the top guys. So if we don't have to use it, why we go out there and take up a roster spot for a player that might be a fringe second-round pick? We can just preserve that spot for free agency or for trade purposes. Now, maybe, again, to your point, just to kind of pare it down, there's a roster expansion where there are certain spots that are earmarked for rookies, and the team has to use them, whether it's like the minimum salary or however much they want to spend. I don't know, but like I said, I don't think that'll happen.
No, I'm with you. The difference between the colleges and the NBA is at least what is a rookie contract? 3 years, right? Isn't that it? Guaranteed 3 years?
Well, guaranteed 2 years. Years 3 and 4 are team options. A lot of money, obviously.
In college, it's a 1-year deal. It's free agency every year. Of course, that's got to change because this model can't sustain itself, but that's the way it is at the moment. Speaking of colleges, this freshman class, this draft, to me, is so amazing. I think other than Purdue, every Sweet 16 has a star that's a freshman. Every Sweet 16 team. It's crazy how good they are.
Yeah, it's look, people talk about this draft is so deep, right? And it's easy to think of the Acuffs, Jabanstas, Darren Petersons of the world, Kingston Flemings with Houston, but like even last night, Illinois, right? Like
Wegler kid's great.
Wagner, like great player, going to be a great player in the league. And even not so much with just freshmen, but you have very, very good college players right now that will be drafted in the first round that are going to make a huge impact. I mean, one of our guys is Bennett Sturts with Iowa, who's been a phenomenal story of his career, where he's coming. Obviously, he's not a freshman, but he is a bright spot and really fun to watch during March Madness. Obviously, you see what Purdue is doing with their veteran stars and the win they squeaked out last night over Texas. This is a absolute great March Madness. I can tell you that much. The parodies. I mean, both games last night, those were really, the latter two were a bit lopsided, and was really surprised
the Illinois-Houston game was a little more interesting. I mean, Arizona.
It was a little more competitive at the end.
But by the way,
Arizona destroyed Arkansas. But those first two, I mean, it was neck and neck the entire game.
Where are those two freshmen, Pete and Burries? Where, if I'm pronouncing that correct, where are they in the draft? Are they staying in? I mean, those guys are good.
Yeah, I mean, Koa Pete had a really, really hot start for Arizona at the start of the season, and he was really a buzzworthy name talked about as a lottery pick. And I think if he stays in now, I think he's going to be a first-rounder for sure. The shooting is a little bit concerning. It's definitely dropped off during the season. So, again, to your point, though, like, he is someone that could really turn himself into a high-level lottery pick next year when the draft is not as deep. So I think if he leaves now, Dave, Koa Pete's a first-rounder. But I think if he goes back, he can really help himself. And then,
he'll make Arizona pay him a bunch of money. I promise.
No, absolutely, and that's what he's going to have to weigh. Like, leaving now, and maybe I go and be a late first round pick, and maybe I don't play a ton, versus going back to Arizona and starting, and by the way, getting $2-3 million Arizona to supplement what I'll make as a rookie in the NBA. And then, Braden Burries, I think people have him in the lottery. I think people have him probably the late lottery. Outstanding freshman guard for Arizona. Now, he can shoot the ball, obviously. Hit a couple last night, had a big game, 23 points. So I think he's going to be one of the top guards going, like after you talk about Kingston Flemings, Wagler. I think he's right there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, where is Wagler? Because I believe coming out of high school, Wagler was like a 3-star, 2-star.
Oh, yeah. He you talk about a sleeper or a riser. He is the epitome of that, Dave. No one really knew who he was at the start of the season. And then people just kind of kept watching how good Illinois was and watching his skill set. And obviously the fact that he's a freshman, now he's got to put on some weight and continue to sharpen his skill set. But again, he is what lottery teams want. A young player with a great skill set, athleticism, and upside.
No, man. What about Acuff, who becomes the first college player to get a major signature shoe from Reebok? Where does he go? Because I know they wrap him for defensive liabilities. What's your sense?
I mean, I still think he's probably a top 7, top 8 pick. The guy could score the ball in his sleep.
Yeah.
Outstanding scorer, outstanding shooter. And everyone knew that kind of coming into Arkansas. He was already highly touted. So he's up there as probably, again, one of the top 2 point guards in this draft to go. So I do think he's right there in that second wave once you get through Kingston Flemings, A.J. DeBansta, who else we got up there? Darren Peterson.
Yeah.
And the kid from UNC as well. So I don't know. I think he's. I think he's
Caleb Wilson. What about Boozer?
Caleb Wilson.
Boozer at Duke.
Yeah, Boozer. Of course, Boozer. Yeah, can't forget Cam Boozer. So I think Acuff's kind of right in the back end of that first group, or you talk about maybe 5, 6, or 7.
What a class! Where do you think this ranks? When's the last class as good as this?
It's been a while. I mean, honestly, I was thinking about it the other day, Dave. We haven't really seen a class like this probably since Luka, Trae Young, all that group. Because you think about previous drafts, obviously you had Cooper Flagg. He is a franchise anomaly. Our guy Con Knippel, who quite honestly I will admit never saw this coming, what he's doing this year. So you got Cooper, you got Con in this past draft. You had a really good draft. DJ Edgecombe, Dylan Harper, really good players, but it's not as deep. And then before that with Risha Shea, Stephon Castle, pretty mediocre top part of the draft if you're talking about elite level top talent.
Where did Wembanyama come in? Was he 3 years ago then?
I think he was at this point 4 years ago. But again, you take out him, it's just he's an outlier, right?
Right.
So when you're talking about a draft where you can rattle off 6, 7, or 8 guys who all could make a case to be a top 3 pick, who I think all are going to come in and make an impact in the NBA in the first couple of seasons and have a chance to be NBA All-Stars or high-level rotational starters, I think it's been really many years to seen that. And like I said, going back to Trae Young, Luka, I mean, that class was elite, right? I can't remember who was ahead of them, but it was a star-studded, really talent-packed top part of the draft, and that's what we have now.
Last thing, we've only got about a minute and a half. 65-game rule. Cade Cunningham played 61 games, got a collapsed lung. And he may not be available for all these postseason awards because of that. Now, I get the rule, and I like the rule for guys like John Morant, who 3 years played 79 games. Come on, that's a third of the games. That's ridiculous. But a guy like Cunningham doesn't deserve, if there is a major injury, to lose those rewards. What's your thought? How do they fix that?
I 100% agree. I think there has to be some sort of carved-out exception, and that's up to the league and the medical staff to figure out what that, how that's defined. Cade Cunningham should absolutely be first-team All-NBA. I'm actually here in Detroit, and was at the last couple of Pistons games, and he obviously is not playing, but the staff and I were talking about that, and they're furious, rightfully so. So it can't just be a blanket rule when every player experiences different factors throughout the season.
Yeah.
They have to accommodate and be more flexible. I don't know what that looks like, but I don't sit here for 1 second and say, hey, the rule's the rule. He didn't reach the 65-game threshold. Now, if you're the Pistons, to try and benefit Cade, obviously, do you try and just somehow activate him for some of these games in the back end of the schedule just to check the box, like their last game, right, at Indiana, April 12th.
Don't you have to play? Don't you have to actually step
that's
on
what
the
I'm
floor?
saying. Activate him and have him start, and then just pull him out. I don't know if there's necessarily like a minute, floor that he has to reach.
Here's a better resolution to this. Come up with a sliding scale on percentage of games played if there's a legit injury. That to me that makes the most sense. Andy, we are out of time, but we'll do this again next Friday.
Sounds good. I'll be in Indy at the Final Four. Look forward to catching up.
Ah, beautiful. I'll make, who's real quick? Who wins? Who's gonna make the Final Four?
Make the Final Four. I was going to say Houston. That's out now. Look, I love Illinois. I love Michigan. I still love Arizona and Duke. I don't really know where they are in terms of playing each other in the Elite Eight to get to the Final Four, but I'd say Duke wins it all.
Duke wins it all. Andy Schiffman, you're on record. We'll be talking to you next week about Duke not making the Final Four. But that's just my thought. Can't wait for next Friday. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks a lot.
That is Andy Schiffman. He's brought to you by Southern Security. Need cash? You can refinance your auto loan with Southern Security. Have no payment for 60 days, and they'll finance up to 115% of the current value of your vehicle for up to 72 months. So to find out how you can put more cash in your pocket, make the call. 901-452-7900, or you can visit the website southernsecurity.org. They're the best credit union the last 6 years. You voted that way. They can do things others can't because they're not for profit. They are Southern Security, your home team credit union, federally insured by NCUA. Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal on a myriad of topics. He comes your way next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Memphis is a love song to soul and style. With the full suite of sought-after designers, brilliant natural diamonds, an elegant bar, luxury VIP lounge, and more, a trip to our store is an experience like no other. Just like the city we love. Stop by any of our stores or visit sissyslogcabin.com and experience Sissy's for yourself. Memphis is our home, and we're your jeweler.
Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. Fun, exciting, friendly, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs. 24 taps for all your beers, including $3 domestic and $5 craft pints on Mondays. Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 happy hour. Music bingo Tuesdays. Daily specials and online ordering. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. Highway 70. Check Facebook for daily specials and weekend music at the Owner's Box.
I got him on the line out there in Gossett Volkswagen Germantown. Hey, Marty McNate, what's going on?
I've got some big news. Volkswagen Driver Days is going on at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown.
And Marty McNate, I hear you've got some incredible deals happening right now.
You heard right, Randy. I got 2026 Jetta S, $277 a month.
$277 a month for Jetta. Hey, what else you got?
How about 2026 Taos S, $327 a month.
$327 a month for Taos S, and I hear you got a Tiguan deal out of this world.
2026 Tiguan S, $355 a month.
Well, it sounds like you got something for everyone.
Come see me, Marty McNade, at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road, or shop online at GossettVWG.com. And remember, your future is what you make it.
All 36-month lease, Jetta TM 5137, MSRP 25820, Tiguan TM 14510, MSRP 32585, Atlas GC 515398, MSRP 41841, includes all rebates and incentives, must be financed through Volkswagen Credit PF 895, excludes tax title and license with a blue credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month, dealer stock only.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We'll be joined by Jonah Dillon in a second. You could say he's a Cadillac of writers. And I will tell you, he's brought to you by Landers, Cadillac of Memphis. Landers, always paying top dollar for all the trade-ins, that beautiful, newly done and gorgeous show place right there on Poplar, right by Sunrise, Breakfast of Memphis. They've been in business with Landers for all these years. They know exactly what the deal will be for you. They will show you how much you can save with the Landers Easy Pass if you go to CadillacofMemphis.com. As I said, you're going to get exceptional deals with trade-ins, and then you get a great look at all the new Cadillacs, and they've got them all, and they always sell fast. Remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much. Jonah Dillon, you did the story on the new University of Memphis women's coach. What's your thoughts about Hannah Hayden? I guess they took a look at a young person up and coming and said, we're gonna buy in on this.
Yeah, and a track record of winning and winning quickly at multiple places, right? Obviously lower levels, but most recently Georgia Southern, being there for 2 years and totally turning them around and winning the Sun Belt regular season title this year, winning Coach of the Year in the Sun Belt. And I mean, that's kind of been a thing around college sports in various different sports. I feel like over the past couple of years, obviously Chris Dignetti is kind of the one that I think everybody points to, where it's like, okay, look, find somebody who's won a lot, even if it was at a lower level. And a lot of times that's going to translate. I mean, you're seeing it right now with Ben McCollum, right, with Iowa.
I was just going to go. There was a comparison on one of the shows, Signetti and McCollum. And what did he's won, I want to say he's won 4 Division II national titles.
Yeah, Division II, and then obviously Drake. So when you look at this hire, you're talking about someone in Hannah Hayden who's done it at multiple levels, right? Division II, JUCO before that. Started at NAIA. She was the National Coach of the Year in Division II a couple years back, and then it obviously translated pretty quickly to the Division I level at Georgia Southern. Now, I know obviously people are going to say, well, she's never done it at this level, and this is a tough job. And this is a tough job, and it's really interesting to kind of get into where the expectations are going to be, how quickly can this be turned around, because we do see quick turnarounds with a lot of those other people in college sports because of the transfer portal. But it's really interesting, obviously, again, Ed Scott going after somebody who was a sitting head coach who has that experience. He's done that every single time he's had to make a hire for a head coach job at Memphis. And so, and obviously the second straight time going after a sitting head coach from the Sun Belt. So if there's another coach opening in Memphis and you're a successful Sun Belt coach, keep your phone on, I guess.
Charles Huff came from Sun Belt Southern Miss. So, yeah, I get what you're saying. She's pretty young, so she'll have energy, and I think Memphis's women's NIL is pretty decent. I don't know how it compares to the rest of the American. I know how it is in the men. Do you have any inkling about that?
Yeah, they have resources. Now, I don't know that this is necessarily, and we talked about this when Alex Simmons was fired, it's a really interesting conversation in terms of this job, what I was kind of getting at earlier, where you look at it and you say, okay, a lot of times in this conference or really at the group of six level, we look at Memphis as being the number one job, right, because of the resources and a lot of times because of the history. This program has not been very good for a long time. Right? They haven't gone to the NCAA tournament since 1998. Right. So there's not a track record of immediate success recently, right? Katrina Merriweather did pretty well. That was getting to the NIT, and obviously that got her a better job. So you see what the level is that you have to do at Memphis. At the same time, like you said, the resources are there. And so there is the potential for that program to really grow and grow quickly. And I think that's why there was probably a lot of coaches around the country and especially around the area who looked at this job and said, yes, they haven't been succeeding at a super high level recently or for a while, but it's kind of a gold mine in terms of what you could do if you get things kind of moving in the right direction. And so obviously that's one of the things I'm sure we'll hear from Hannah Hayden at her press conference is that attracted her to this job, is that there is potential for a lot of growth.
I think the last time you could really say a consistently successful coach would be Joy Lee McNellis, now a blessed memory, but she would probably be the last one. So it has been such a drought. But honestly, Jonah, there's never been a better time to turn a program around because you can literally buy players. If you choose the right players and you've got the resources, you can turn around a program quicker now than you ever could.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why some of these coaches, you come in and they win right away. Now, a lot of her top, I know people are going to ask about this, a lot of her top players were seniors this year at Georgia Southern. So It's not going to be one of those bring the entire team situations that we see sometimes. Even those other coaches we talked about, a lot of the instant success, look at Iowa, is just bringing the players from Drake, right, their top player. And you saw that obviously with Chris Ignetti too. So not to compare Hannah Hayden to them, because it's obviously a super high level and the expectations, but she's shown also that she can recruit at a high level, and now she's able to recruit to a program with more resources. And so that tells you she's probably going to be able to get a pretty high caliber of player here. Obviously, you've got to put it all together. I don't know that this is a turn it around immediately situation, but I think it's realistic to expect that it's not going to be a long rebuild here in terms of what they want to happen, because, like you said, you can turn around quickly with the transfer portal.
I think it was last Monday we had the press conference. It was almost 2 hours long. Charles Huff, again, was incredible in this press conference. We got to meet the two coordinators. Actually, got to meet three and the strength coach. But I was so impressed with Kevin Decker and with Lance Guidry, the OC and DC, respectively. What was your thoughts about that 2 hour presser?
Yeah, it was a long one. There's a lot. I'm still trying to digest some of the information because, like you said, they were all really engaging personalities. I think when you look at the coordinators, first of all, it was kind of refreshing. They got up there and they said, here's the scheme I'm going to play, and here's what it's going to look like, and here's where all the people are going to stand, essentially. Right. Now, obviously, things change and they make adjustments in the game, but I think we have a pretty good idea, even right now, of what offense and defense are going to look like for this team, right? And there's obviously position battles to be sorted out and things like that. But I'm interested, this is going to be a totally new scheme defensively, right? A 4-2-5 as opposed to the kind of 3-3 multiple that Jordan Hankins was running. And then offensively, you're going to see a really interesting spread offense, right? This is going to be different than Tim Cramsey. It's interesting because Kevin Decker actually got his start in coaching under Tim Cramsey and played for Tim Cramsey in college. So they have a really close relationship, which is just a coincidental thing. But that doesn't mean they run the same offensive scheme, right? It's different. And the thing that I'm interested to see is how much they get that going right away, right? I mean, Kevin Decker's scheme it's going to look more like the Tennessee offense under Josh Heupel, kind of the stuff that Memphis fans saw from South Florida the past couple years with Alex Golesh. That's the offense that you should expect to see something like that versus what you've seen the past couple years from Tim Cramsey.
Yeah, I asked him the differences, and he just basically said it's going to be more spread, and it's more like Heupel because he's taken something from everybody, but he does admire Tim Cramsey, that is for sure. What did you make of Lance Guidry and now 4 down linemen? We haven't seen that for a while.
Yeah, so it's going to be a different scheme obviously there, and you're looking for players who are going to fit those specific roles. It is interesting because the way that this whole played out, obviously where Jason Seymour came to Memphis for about 2 weeks, and Lance Guidry was at Oregon State for the same amount of time before Jason Seymour left for Georgia Tech. So that does mean that when they were recruiting in the transfer portal, they were recruiting players before they actually had their DC, right? I mean, they had Jason Seymour, but Lance Guidry came in and there were already players in place. Sometimes you see guys trying to recruit for specific positions. Now, I think with this scheme, obviously there's specific roles that are super important, right, if you're going to play that way. And he mentioned it, that nickel corner spot is really important, and that's why Ian Foster has been someone he mentioned right there, and obviously someone who was really successful at Southern Miss. So you look at some of those roles of, okay, if you're going to play this way, you need a really good nickel corner. You probably need a tackling machine type linebacker. Mike Montgomery looks like that kind of a player. And so it's interesting. There's building blocks on kind of all 3 levels of the defense. Those 2 guys, Jermon Tapp up front, all from Southern Miss. And then there's a lot of things to sort out. And so I'm interested to see how he goes through that as they wind their way through spring camp.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm not sure what they ran at Southern Miss last year because it was a different DC, and Charles Huff himself said, I'm an offensive guy. So I don't know if they ran 4 down defensive linemen last year.
Yeah, I think they did. And those guys, like I said, the thing with those types of players is you want to put them in position to succeed in whatever their best role is, right? And so a lot of people came here knowing, I want to do this and I want to play this scheme. They have familiarity also because Lance Guidry was the defensive coordinator for Charles Huff at Marshall a couple years ago. And so this isn't like he's coming in and saying, I'm going to rip everything up, because, again, that would be a concern if you had recruited players to play a different style and then a new guy came in and said, we're going to keep all the same players and we're going to do things differently. I mean, you saw some of that with Memphis a couple years ago when they changed their scheme, and people are playing out of position. Now, they had a lot of good players and they were able to do it. But that would be a concern. But I think a lot of those guys from Southern Miss, they're used to playing this type of a scheme and they're used to playing those specific roles. And so I think it makes sense that they would do this, and I'm just interested to see how it plays out.
I will see you later this afternoon at the practice. So look forward to that.
Yeah, sounds good.
And we'll talk to you again next Friday.
All right.
Thank you, Jonah. That is Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal. He's brought to you by Sheldon. You know, with the NCAA going on, you understand the importance of a point guard. That is exactly what Sheldon Rosengarten is for you. He's the point guard that can help you with his strategy, and it's a strategic marketing program that gets you to the closing table quicker and with more money. Prices you right. He's got it all down. That's because he works with you step by step, 24/7. Whenever you got a question, I promise you, he's got the answer. He's been doing it forever, literally. You want to see what I'm talking about? Go to MemphisRelocate.com, see what people say about him on the social media sites, and then, as he likes to say, interview 2 to 3 people. Just make sure he's one of them. You want the job done? You call Sheldon. You want that strategic marketing program? You call Sheldon. You want to get to that closing table? You call Sheldon, 483-0546, or MemphisRelocate.com. We'll see you bright and early Monday morning. Johnny Radio's right around the corner. Have a great day, everybody.